So as most of you know, we're in the middle of a big outdoor patio. We've already built our stone patio. Now it's time to add some decorative elements to it. As you can see, we have this lovely shed that's kind of pieced up against the patio. And before we had a bush that covered it, but since we put the patio in, we had to take the bush out, and now it is quite the eyesore. So today we're going to try and build a decorative wall with some flower elements to kind of help bring a little bit of warmth to the patio and also add the functionality of hiding the shed back here. So we're going to talk about what we're doing. My husband and I have never done anything like this before, so it's going to be a journey together on how we do this project. Are you ready? So step one of our wall is complete. We start out by installing two 4x4 posts here, fencing posts, to use as the base of our wall. And these are cedar, and we did 8 feet. They're 8 feet tall, but we dug in about 22 inches, so it leaves them a little over 6 feet above, which is perfect for what we're working with. I think the most important part of this step was the leveling, and we just used a basic leveler on the side to make sure that these were sturdy, and then we, if you look in the blog post, you'll see that we used an overhead board to make sure that they were even on top. And lastly, we just filled the holes with quick dry cement and filled them with water. And the hardest part of a DIY project is the waiting time. So we have to wait 4 hours for these to dry. It's day 2 of our slat wall project, and we left off with installing the post, and we waited for the cement to dry. Then it was time to install the horizontal slats. So we took the cedar planks. They measure 5.5 inches wide, and we cut them at about 82.5 inches long to fit the space that we were working with. We just installed them with basic fencing screws with our drill, and then we used some 3M wood filler that's also stainable, which is really awesome because it will just fit right in with our stain once we put it on. We dabbled a little bit in that in the screw holes, and then used some 3M sandblaster to sand the spots off, and we're ready to start staining. So we're in the final stages of this project, but before we get into the little details on the finishing touches, I'm going to backtrack just for a second. So in the beginning I mentioned that this is a brand new project for me and for my husband, and I will take full responsibility that I missed a few calculations before we started the staining process, and before we even started building we should have been staining the wood and the posts, because now it's hard for us to get behind the wall to stain the back side of it because there isn't that much space in between this wall and the shed. So staining was a little bit of a difficult process for us. So there's my learning tip, is to stain all the wood prior to putting it up on the post. But since we always have to work through our issues, we had to put it up. We put it up first, we stained, and now I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we stained. Well, first of all, it's always great to use protection, so 3M makes these great respiratory masks that help you breathe, and it helps take out the fumes. And also you want to prep your surface, so we use 3M exterior tape to kind of tape off some of the gutters and also the stone patio so we didn't get any stain on it. And I always like to use a rag when I use my stain. I used English Chestnut by Minwax, and just a couple coats on the wall, followed by some poly, and all the wall is nice and sealed. And to kind of finish it off, I got these galvanized buckets on Pick Your Plum, 5 of them for only $20. It was a really great deal, so I snagged them when I saw them on there. And I just filled them with some dirt and a few flowers, and then they hang really nicely on the wall, and you can kind of put them in any arrangement that you want. Overall, I think the project was a pretty easy DIY project. There's some waiting time involved, but you could easily do it in a full weekend, and it was a lot of fun to do, and we're really happy with the results. So thanks for joining in.